Notable African writer and Mary Komawa said, African agriculture depends on labor. You can't produce crops if there is nobody to work on the farms. It's good to have you join us in this week's episode of AgroTV. I'm Rukere Ekewenu. As always, we have our segments loaded with crisp information for you. Be a part of the show by sending your comments to our social media platforms displayed on your screen. We will be right back after this time out. The Minister of State for Agriculture and Rural Development, Senator Heineken Lokobiri, has disclosed that the Anchor Borrower Scheme of the federal government issues loans to farmers in kind. Details of this is what we have for you on the polls.
The federal government has assured farmers of support through the Anchor Borrower Scheme. This assurance was given by the Minister of State for Agriculture and Rural Development, Senator Heineken Lokobiri, in an exclusive interview with AgroTV when he paid a visit to Triton Farms at Ibadan, Oyo State. He disclosed that the Anchor Borrower Scheme issues loans to farmers in kind and also stated that discussions are being made with the banks to ensure farmers are given loans at single-digit interest rates.
And we have worked an arrangement, with CBN where people are given access to, cheap and affordable funding. CBN has funding under the Anchor Borrower Scheme where, farmers can have access, to credit. And let me make this point clear. The strategy has changed. Instead of giving you cash, where a lot of it was diverted in the past. These days, even under the Anchor Borrower Scheme, the cash is not given to you. It's given to you in kind. You are given the seed, you are given the fertilizer, you are given the chemicals, so that you're only given a small component for labor. So that you should be able to use those, farm inputs, cultivate your land, wait for 3-4 months for, the crops to mature. You sell, you make your money, you pay back government so that other people can also benefit from it.
As part of its commitment to economic diversification, the federal government has voted 92 billion naira as budgetary allocation to the agricultural sector for the year 2017, which is 1.3% of the total budget. President Muhammadu Buhari, who announced this during the 2017 budget presentation at the Joint National Assembly on Wednesday, December 14, 2016, expressed that the budget was primed to focus on economic recovery and growth strategy.
Agriculture remains at the heart of our efforts to diversify the economy, and the proposed allocation to the sector this year is at a historic high of 92 billion naira. This sum will complement the existing effort by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Central Bank of Nigeria to boost agricultural productivity through increased intervention funding at single-digit interest rate under the Anchor Borrowers Program, Commercial Agriculture Credit Scheme, and the Nigerian Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending.
The state of exports in Nigeria is currently suffering a lot of hiccups, hence the decline in the export system of agricultural products. To enlighten us on this, I had a chat with Her Royal Majesty Ada Chidume-Okoro. Enjoy the chat. Our guest on Talk Time today is the Managing Director of Gum Arabic Company Nigeria Limited, GACON Limited. She is Her Royal Majesty Ada Chidume-Okoro. Good to have you, ma'am.
Thank you.
GACON Limited is a wholly owned Nigerian company into the processing and export of Nigerian agricultural produce, food ingredients, herbs, and botanicals. And they've done it so well over the years that Her Royal Majesty has been honored with the Woman Exporter of the Year 2010 non-oil export. Can you tell us about this honor, ma'am?
Thank you. That's a presidential award bestowed on me in recognition of my consistent export deliveries and documentation.
Okay. Ma'am, moving on, what is the current state of non-oil export in Nigeria?
From statistics available to me, the non-oil export is declining. We are not doing as well as we would wish to. But that does not mean that we cannot do better. I think we can still do better. But currently, the figures are coming down.
What is the cause of this decline?
One is the general recession in the economy. Secondly, the stoppage of incentives that were hitherto made available to exporters. Then there's the issue of food security. Food security in the sense that what we are producing, it's barely enough to feed the population. Nigeria has a huge population. So what we are producing is barely enough to feed us, talk less of exporting. You find out that some agricultural produce, the international price is far cheaper than the local price. So there's no how you can export such commodities. Then we also have the issue of a whole lot of Nigerian shipments being returned back to us based on quality challenges. I think in a nutshell, this can address that.
These issues now, what is the non-oil exports union, are they making any efforts to the ministry to complain about these problems so they can see how better to solve them?
There is no union known as non-oil export union. There are, I know of Nagapen. Nagapen is Nigerian Agricultural Processors, Producers and Processors Association of Nigeria. We have the FACAN. FACAN is a Federation of Agricultural Commodities. There's no one umbrella body that is housing all the non-oil exporters. But I'm sure Nigerian Export Promotion Council, it's taking action, I guess. They know about all this. And that's part of the challenges they're trying to address.
Speaking of the challenges, what particular challenges are akin to non-oil exports that is causing this decline? You've mentioned food security and the recession and all of that. What major challenges are being faced?
The challenges are enormous. I would tell you that quality issues, basically. Quality issues. Standardization issues. Market access. We need government institutional support. There are a whole lot of challenges we have. We can't wish them away. Export is not an all-comers affair. It's highly technical. So if we are serious about the export sector, non-oil export sector, then we need to do a whole lot more than we are doing currently.
Okay, bearing this in mind, what's the capacity of the non-oil export sector as regards job creation in Nigeria?
There's a huge capacity. Non-oil exports, precisely we are talking about agri-exports now. It can solve the current unemployment problem we are having in Nigeria with the youth, even with the restive groups. You talk about militants. You can use it to empower them. You can use it to empower women. Everybody will have something doing. But the unfortunate thing is that when you come to the cities, a whole lot of people would rather be in the cities, not doing anything. Whereas these are labor hands needed in the agri sector down home, in the farms. So it has huge potential for the creation of jobs.
Since it does have huge potential and a lot of youth would like to have something doing rather than being jobless in the cities, what's the role of the federal government in this? How do they make agriculture better for the youth to feel more interested and they will want to leave their city and go to the village or go to the farm to work?
The royal fathers in Imo State, they came up with this cooperative arrangement. They call it Royal Fathers in Agriculture. It's like a cooperative association. So they bring together youths, say maybe 200 400 youths under them. Each person is encouraged to get an acre of land, crop so quantity of cassava, and then there's a buyback arrangement that they will now sell their end products to that association for processing. Most of the youths youths like technology. So if somehow you encourage the youths technologically, say with Wi-Fi, with phones, there's dissemination of information about farming season, input, what to expect using the phones. That would be like an incentive. It will be attractive to them. Also, the youths are trooping to the cities because they believe life is a lot better, easier in the cities. Everybody wants some good means of livelihood. Nobody wants to sleep without lights, which is prevalent in the rural areas. They want to have good transportation system. So if the federal government or state government can bring these items to bear in the rural communities, I'm sure youths will be interested in going back to the farms.
The federal government, in diversifying the economy, have come up with the fact that we have to move agriculture forward and we need to boost our economy, thereby stopping and ensuring we consume more of our own products made in Nigeria as against importation. Now, most of the farmers and stakeholders are complaining that our products are not even enough. Our food products, they can barely satisfy us, and we're talking about exports. And you're into non-oil exports. Can you educate us better? Where's the balance in this?
Okay. People are mainly into subsistence farming. But if commercial agriculture can be encouraged and people engage in commercial agriculture, it will be a lot better. Our output will be more, and let people see agriculture as a business, not like a hobby. See it as a business. And federal government should also provide incentives like maybe improve seedlings, improve infrastructures. Let them provide the basic infrastructures like electricity, good road network for the farmers to bring out what they are producing and all that. But if you're wondering that some of the commodities are not in short supply here, yes, you're very correct. Something like cassava. The international price of cassava is a lot cheaper than cassava locally. So there's no how you can think of exporting, for now, items like cassava. That would be a nightmare. The government, both the state government and the federal government, should encourage cooperatives and mutuals, where people come together, they own farms, and the access to funding would be a lot easier. Access to land would be a lot easier. Then there will be pool of resources. They can come together, people can come together under cooperatives and mutuals and farm. Their output will be far more than individuals farming.
We've talked quite about the export system and the challenges. Sealing it now, what exactly is the way forward in terms of non-oil exports in Nigeria?
The government has to give full support, lend its full support to non-oil exports. Countries like China, for market access, their government follows them all the way to access the market. If you go to international exhibitions and trade fairs, you will see a whole lot of, you will see China Pavilion, where you have more than 50 exhibitors exhibiting different types of Chinese products, made in China products. They are exports, they are both manufactured and raw materials. But we cannot be serious with exports, the Nigerian government, I mean now. When you go to such market access places, you hardly see our presence. We may not even have one single booth of a business that came from Nigeria. So if we are serious about this non-oil export, the government has to collaborate with some other international agencies like USDA, United States Department for Agriculture, because most of the exports emanating from Nigeria run into quality issues. Different standards. We have to look at our packaging. We have to look at our appearance. It's not easy to get into the international market to export. There are basic things that the government needs to do. Talking about certification. Now the world is more interested in organic products. Nobody wants to eat GMOs. By GMOs, I mean genetically modified substances. Nobody wants to eat all those. But then, we know we use little or no fertilizer for our products here in Nigeria. Still, the international market, they want you to carry that organic certification before they can buy products. And we don't have such agencies that will give such certifications. And to get a certification costs a whole lot of money. You are talking about $5,000 per annum per product. Per annum per product. And maybe a company is trying to import from you, they want another one they call a kosher certification. You know, the Islamic world, they know what type of certifications they want to allow your products come into their manufacturing process. Government should also help with, we already talked about funding. So if exporters can give, if they can get funding at single interest rate, that will help a whole lot. That will help a whole lot. Then government should also encourage value addition. I once went to a trade fair in the last 18 months, very much unlike the raw produce we are exporting now. The market is asking for something very different from what we are used to. Now, instead of a customer asking me to supply dry split ginger, they want ginger oils, they want ginger flavors, they want concentrates, and things like that, and colors. So we have to understand what the market is asking for. And it's the government that will help with the quality issues through partnering with different other countries' agencies. When we say export, a whole lot of what goes out of Nigeria's exports goes to the neighboring countries within Africa. It's very difficult for a Nigerian company to export anything outside the shores of Africa because of the quality requirements. They don't believe what we are bringing is worth anything. So the government needs to collaborate with some of these companies, some of these countries' agencies to ensure, it's like the government needs to carry the exporters at their back and let the international community know that we have something to offer. You know, with the era of 419, even to get a single contract, export contract, is very, very difficult and hard. If it's before, you go to an international exhibition, you exhibit your product, by the time you're coming back, you send out mails to the prospective buyers. They will answer you. But now, any mail that is coming from Nigeria is treated with suspicion by the international community. Why? Because of 419, Yahoo, and all that. The government needs to come in. What are they doing? What needs to be done for us to regain our lost glory? The image of Nigeria is not so good when it comes to goods living the shores of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, ma. Our guest has been Her Royal Majesty Ada Chidume-Okoro, who is the Managing Director, Gum Arabic Company Nigeria Limited, and also the Woman Exporter of the Year 2010. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you blind? Can't you see?
Mama Sunday, what's the matter?
Mama Sunday, answer us now. Who has offended you today? Did they send Sunday away from school?
Look at my son. He just came back from school and there is nothing for him to eat for lunch. I was hoping that he would have had some food in school as promised by the current administration during their campaign. I am tired of the promise and fail of this government, especially on this school feeding policy.
Is that why you are worried? Forget about these politicians for now. This school feeding policy to me is a prank.
Even if it's not a prank, Uche, of what benefit is it to us? What do we stand to gain from it? School feeding what?
Let me tell you one thing there. All these things, all these are promises. It's just a hoax. Look, it is business as usual. That's the main thing. First of all, they will provoke the empathy of the masses. Then you now take advantage of their weakness to gain votes. Left to me, all this policy, it's not the light of day.
Guys, listen to me. This government is clueless.
Clueless?
They don't know what to do at all. They are very clueless.
Very, very clueless.
They lost their priority.
Adamu Uche! Yomi, this is wrong. You people cannot be correct. The homegrown school feeding program is a policy of this government that is aimed at providing primary school age children like Sunday with one balanced meal a day, which will enable them grow properly and have their brains properly formed. That way, you can have professors coming from children like this. Because if a child like this is getting a balanced diet, his health will be protected. So we will not be having issues of children dying and children having problems and government spending money on hospital bills. But my people, the homegrown school feeding program of this government is one that we all must support in order for it to succeed.
This week on AgroStyle, we present to you Aliyu Gidado, who is the Katsina State Public Relations Officer for Poultry Association of Nigeria. He's also a guinea fowl farmer. Take a look.
This is Aliyu Gidado. I'm a farmer from Katsina State in Katsina. I own Sahara Chicks and Hatchery. I'm into production of chicken and guinea fowl. Guinea fowls are actually indigenous to the semi-arid region of West Africa, which is my own locality. And besides the adaptability and being very economical in terms when you compare them to chicken, they are more disease resistant. And prehistoric times, before modern chicken business was introduced, we were actually consuming guinea fowls, not chicken, in our own areas. And I looked at it and saw we don't really have people going into guinea fowls commercially. So that prompted me to, I love challenges, and I feel, yes, we have something indigenous that requires modern touch, but with a lot of opportunities on the ground. Very challenging, like any other business. Very challenging, teething problems here and there, finances, very typical of setting up a business in our economy. You almost have to do everything by yourself. I wouldn't want to sound very pessimistic, but when I hear government talking about agriculture, I look at the problems of agriculture, let me put it in relation to the poultry industry itself. Have they really looked at these problems? Are they really offering solutions to these problems? Take, for instance, the avian influenza, the bird flu. The practice all over the world is once bird flu sets in, governments takes over farms, cull the birds that's killing, and then compensate farmers. In this country, from 2014 to date, there has been an outbreak that has affected over 3 million birds. Out of 3 million and something birds, just 1 million farmers, 1 million birds were paid as compensated. The rest, 2-point-something million, the farmers are still waiting. Now, if you don't have any other source of main livelihood, you don't have any other thing to do besides that, and that's your major source of livelihood, you're completely grounded. So the government, they're talking about investing in agriculture. If you're not taking care of existing investors, what will happen to someone who wants to go into agriculture or who wants to invest in the country? There are lots of prospects in the business, because I'll tell you something. If you go to the north during the rainy season, which we assume that's seasonal time for egg production of guinea fowls, you find out along the roads you see guinea fowl eggs being sold all over, from Abuja, Kano, Katsina, far north, extreme north to northeast, northwest, all over. Now, these eggs are got from Fulani hamlets that rear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in small hamlets, and people go there to buy it. So we don't even have people commercially producing guinea fowl and commercially producing guinea fowl eggs. So there's a lot of potential in it. First and foremost is we had to get our breeds from France. The French guinea fowl is an improved version of our own local domesticated guinea fowls, which tend to be heavier and which are more productive. So any animal that you want to go into producing commercially, you must make sure you have the right breed for commercial purposes. Get the necessary knowledge, because you must have the right data regarding how to go about it commercially, because it's entirely different from free-ranging traditional system of rearing.
Lagos State has collaborated with Kebbi State in rice production, and the result is lake rice, which is set to commence sale commercially at the price of 13,000 naira per 50 kg bag. On Street Vibes today, we get the reactions of Lagosians on this lake rice.
Lagos having a rice to be sold at 13,000 naira per bag, that would be perfect. And if other state governments can do that, I think Nigerians will be better off. Naturally, I don't see why we should be eating foreign rice if we can grow our own. And I think this will give room for more expansion in the agricultural sector, for more investments. And I think every other state government should take cue after Lagos and do the same.
I said it's a good development. It shows that they are caring, our leaders are caring for us. And by the time it begins, at least the changes we are clamoring for will begin to be visible.
What Ambode is trying to do to bring in a brand of rice that is going to be tagged Lagos rice at a very cheap price. You know, going by what is happening in the society, the common people are suffering hunger. So for him to take such a step, to me, it's a good development.
That 13K is too expensive. They should bring it down to 10. After all, before we normally buy it 7.5, 6.5, but now it's about 20,000 naira. But some people cannot afford it. Christmas is coming very soon now. Some people are thinking how they are going to feed their family. That 13,000 naira is still expensive. Assuming they can put it for 10,000 naira, some people can struggle to get half back for 5,000 because things is good nowadays.
Let us look about those rice that are being imported. How much is the cost of production over there? Over there, before they import it here, the cost of production over there is not even more than, let me just say, like 5,000 to 6,000 naira. But when they convert the money, the dollar, and the import rate, the transportation, everything, you see, that's why the cumulative amount of that 17.5 accrue. But now looking at here in Nigeria, yeah, so that is on the high side.
Thank you for being a part of today's show. Did you miss any part of the program? Don't worry, you can always catch up on YouTube as each episode of AgroTV is available for your view. Share your comments and suggestions on our social media platforms displayed on your screen. You can advertise your products and services on this show as well as contact us for the management of agricultural projects and events. Until next week, I remain your host, Rukewe Ekewenu. Think growth, think agriculture. Bye for now.